This is a story about the Magi. These men might have been like magicians or sorcerers or rulers like kings, or maybe they were like scientists who studied the stars and the planets. The Bible doesn't say, so we don't really know what their jobs were. The Bible does say they were wise, which means they were really, really smart, and that they came from the East, which meant they came from basically anywhere east of a town called Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. Wherever they came from, the Magi had traveled far, like super far. They probably rode a camel or donkeys, or they walked. They followed something in the sky that filled them with wonder, a bright star in the east. When they got to Jerusalem, they paid a visit to the king, a man named Herod. The Magi said,
"Where is he who has been born the King of the Jews? For we saw a star in the east, and we have come to worship him."
This bothered King Herod because, well, King Herod was easily bothered. King Herod gathered all the chief priests and scribes and asked them if they had heard of some other king who had been born nearby, a king who might try to take the throne from King Herod. What he discovered was an ancient prophecy.
Out of Bethlehem shall come a ruler who will shepherd God's people, Israel.
King Herod summoned the Magi and asked exactly when the star they were following had appeared in the sky. They told him. Then King Herod said,
"Go and search carefully for the child. When you have found him, report to me, so that I too may come and worship him."
This made sense to the Magi, who left immediately to start the search. They looked to the star for guidance, and sure enough, the star went before them and showed them the place where the child was. The Magi were overjoyed and raced to see him. Imagine these three wise men, maybe rich and powerful men, falling to the ground and worshiping a child. Then they took out their treasures and presented them as gifts: frankincense, gold, and myrrh. These were really, really thoughtful gifts. The Magi probably picked them because they knew who Jesus was. Jesus is God's Son. This is frankincense, a precious perfume which was used in worship. Jesus is the King, so they gave him gold, which is, gold, the most valuable metal on earth. And myrrh, well, it's a precious oil, but it was usually used when someone had died. Did the Magi know Jesus would grow up to give his own life to show God's love for the world? We don't know. What we do know is the Magi worshiped Jesus and gave him precious gifts. And that night, God warned them not to go back to King Herod. So the Magi went back to their own country by another way. This enraged King Herod, who kept trying to find and kill the baby who had been born to rescue the whole world. And to keep their baby safe, Mary and Joseph escaped to Egypt. There they stayed until King Herod died a few years later, and it was safe to return. The Magi had more than wisdom and precious gifts. They had determination and wonder and kindness. And they wouldn't be the last people to hear about Jesus and risk everything to worship him as their king. And I can't wait for you to hear that story.